I don't know how God did it, but he did it. He gave us food for every single day of that week, and I took food over to sustain that family. I don't remember ever telling anybody about it other than my husband once he got back, because I couldn't even have him worrying. I don't know if he was in St. Louis, California. I don't know where he was, but he was someplace far away. And I could not worry him and say, babe, I've got to do something for them because they don't have, but then I don't know how we're going to stretch. I wasn't going to have him worrying about that while he was working. But when he came back, I rejoiced about what God had done, but I don't remember it going any further at that time. But then as a testimony later, to someone showing them, oh, I can tell you how God will supernaturally provide. To this day, I don't know how he did it. To this day, I don't know how he did it. And I'm not worried about it, but he did it. He did it. So then it is about sharing and influencing and uplifting and saying, if he did it for me, and he took care of 2 families and ate well. I'm not talking about we had beans and hot dogs. We ate well. Ate well daily. And she had boys and they were like preteens. So you know they can eat. Okay?
See, that's why the Lord said that we're overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the
word of our testimony. There you go.
We bless others by doing that.
Yes,
Amen.
yes. I saw 2 hands. I saw Rosalind and I saw Benika.
2 quick things. One thing that I know that I absolutely cannot do anything without God. I know that, and I live by that every day. But to support what the scripture said, so when I work daily, and the position I'm in, I have to attend a lot of meetings, and I just go and I just want to do well and perform well and everything, and I just and I'm in meeting after meeting after meeting. But when I'm in the meetings, more than likely I'm the one that probably say the least. I say the least, and I don't need to be heard and all that. I just want to execute, get the work done or whatever. But in our quarterly meeting that we had at our corporate office, and all the executives sit around the table, and everybody, they were going to the performance. After the meeting, I was out of my office, and my boss's boss came down there, and he told me, he said it was amazing. And I didn't even realize it because I didn't have to be heard. I said maybe 2 words in that meeting. It didn't matter to me. He said every word that came out of everybody's mouth sounded like you because of your influence. It was all that background work I had done and everything. I just wanted the work done and wanted it done right. But I said all that to say that it will seep out. It has no other choice when you have the right motive behind it. God's glory will be shown regardless when the right motive is done. I didn't have to say anything. I was just working. He said, I knew you was all in it. He said, because every word that came out of your mouth sounded like you.
Look at that. Look at that. Before we go on to Benika, right in line with what Elder Rosalind is saying, let's look at Proverbs 12, verse 14. And we're going to move swiftly, but I want to read this to you. A man shall be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hand shall be rendered unto him. Let's look at 23 and 24 of that same Proverbs 12. A prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaimeth foolishness. You don't have to speak on everything to say what you know and prove what you know. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute. Benika?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I'm so excited because I thank God that you listened to him and you're presenting this in the beginning of the year. Because as we're talking, it's funny how when you think about self-promotion, it depends, you look at it based on how you're taught. And what you're doing right now is teaching us how to really properly look at self-promotion. Because when you look at what it means. It says that when you are letting someone know that you're capable, that you're intelligent, that you have the talent to do something, and we have to watch the trick of the enemy, because it also shows us, because when it goes back down to it, the enemy does not want us to understand that we are capable. So he has us look at self-promotion as, I was reading one of the definitions, and then from the trick of the enemy, it says all these wonderful things, but the tagline to it is even at the expense of being liked. So it makes you not want to do it, but that's the trick. The truth of the matter is, it holds substance to be able to self-promote. And if you do it based on having a mission, having foundation and principles, it really is a positive thing. And I talk about this year, the movie that blessed me was the movie Harriet.
Yes.
And the truth is, like, she had a mission and a purpose. So she went for these people, but she was challenged, and she was challenged at one point, and she had to have the confidence to show, I am capable to show you the way. So she promoted herself. She actually, in the movie, she actually started saying, I'm Moses. She began to tell you who she was, so that people will follow her. So she self-promoted, but it wasn't for her, because she was already free.
You better say
It
that.
really is. This is a spiritual thing. Once you understand the trick of the enemy and you dispel the myth of it, you can walk in self-promotion, and it's not negative.
That's wonderful. Look at this.
And I'm sorry, it turns into a testimony. The end result is it becomes your testimony. How you know it's good, it becomes a testimony, and it glorifies God. So even in self-promotion, it still goes back to His creator.
There we go. Glory to
She
God.
say it. Say it.
And
Amen.
that
It's
is,
dropped. Thank you.
that is,
It's a mic dropper.
right, a mic dropper. And a scripture that goes right along with what Vanika just shared is St. Matthew 23:11 and 12. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. She's talking about the movie Harriet. Harriet made herself a servant to these people, right? To help them, to free them. But she had to also put herself in harm's way.
She did.
She was the one who had to be the leader, who had to accept the assignment and the challenge, and to possibly risk her life, but she was serving people to free them. This is good. This is good. Okay, let's go to the next question. Can anyone else tell your story as well as you? Okay, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I also know that some of us are withholding telling our story. Kim?
No one can tell your story as good as you, because no one has gone through what you do or experienced it the way that you do. They may have gone through some of the similar experiences, but that experience didn't hit them the way it hit you.
That's true.
So they can't tell your story the way that you can tell it. It's even like when you're in school and you're playing telephone and you tell someone your story, and then they go back and tell it, they're going to leave something out, or they're going to add something to it, so it's still not going to be quite your story. So they can't tell it the way that you can tell it.
Exactly.
And they won't have the emotion or the passion because they don't feel what you felt.
Right. You're going back to Ebony's word, and I was just getting ready to say it. The passion is not there because they didn't live it. They did not experience it. Anyone else want to add to that?
Kind of go back to what was said earlier about the life of Dr.
Lois
Tony.
Evans, Dr. Evans.
His wife. Even a little bit deeper, no one can tell your story if you don't live it. So even it's more important to not so focus on just telling it, but you need to have a story to be told.
Okay,
Live
I
it.
like that.
And that's one of the models for me and my sister this year is live, love, and laugh. We just have our little thing between us. But I think most importantly is you gotta live it out. And no one can live it out like you can. So,
Right. So in other words, you can have a story, but if you don't live it out, it's still not gonna help anyone.
it's not gonna be told. And
That's so good.
And when she spoke about his wife, how beautiful was that she lived out that. Self-promotion sometimes can also just be in the billboard of, but, just living that out. It speaks for itself too.
The billboard. Thank you, yes.
Our story is our testimony to be given and shared with those who are walking where we once walked, to encourage them and to help them to move forward with the Lord.
Yes, so very true. Your story, well, sometimes, and thank you for saying that, because sometimes we make things more difficult than it is. Your story, you might sit there and say, well, I don't have a story. Oh, you've got a testimony. What you've been through in your life is your testimony. What God has brought you through, what God has enabled you to do, that's your testimony, that's your story, that's what needs to be told. But we make it more difficult than it should be. Next question. Does self-promotion always mean me first?
No.
Does it have to mean me first? Tell me why. Yes.
No, I don't think it should. I think it all boils down to, again, the motive. If at the end of the day, your goal is to self-promote for the sake of kind of just bringing awareness, then at the end of the day, that goes farther than you. Like, you're just kind of the vessel that's putting it out there, but you're not necessarily always going to be the one that fulfills, it every single time. You may be just putting it out there, promoting like, I'm capable of this, I'm capable of aiding this person or that person, but I feel like when it's done right with the right motives, it's always gonna go further than just yourself.
I agree. Yes.
Benika keeps coming to mind, and a conversation that we had, maybe, I don't know, a year or more ago, about her real estate practice and the heart behind what she does. And what I keep thinking about is whether I have a friend who is doing awesome things as an attorney, and his heart has always been to help the least of these. If you are the #1 selling real estate agent in your region, your community, and your heart is to help people get the best deal possible, to move into the American dream of home ownership, to upgrade when family needs require more space or whatever it is, or to downsize, and you know how to do it and how to do it well, then for you to promote the fact that you are the #1 selling real estate agent in this community, so that people know what you're capable of, which opens the door for you to help even more people when that's your driving force, is to help people, for instance, who've never been able to be homeowners or who felt like that was something for other people but not for them, that you can help them do that thing. You can help them get their credit in order, you can help them get the loan that they need or whatever. I'm telling you what I'm capable of so that I can do what God has put in me to do, well, in you to do, and that is to help people move from a place of being the borrower to being the lender.
Right.
So no, I don't think that, I think that illustrates exactly what Benika's talking about in terms of self-promotion not just being about you, but if you don't know, so I was taking some business classes, there's a lady, she's a multimillionaire, and her dream is to help other people become millionaires. And she says if people don't know what you can do, then they can never avail themselves of your services.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying here. Thank you so much. I made a note that also says that self-promotion opens the door to collaboration. There's somebody, and I'm not going to put her name out across the airways, but She's looking at me right now, and she spoke on Facebook just recently about a dream that she had that she started, and then it, for whatever the reason, did not continue. But she still has the passion and the heart for that dream. Well, I believe that that dream is meant to continue. And I also believe that when she reinstitutes and when she opens that up again and embarks on that journey again, I believe that it also is going to open the door for collaboration, for people that are going to come alongside her, see what she is about, see what her heart is, what her passion is, and said, okay, you know what? There's something that I'm doing that I think when we partner together, when we kind of merge and get on this same journey together, we're both going to be successful and we're both going to be instrumental in changing lives. I've seen it happen. We've seen it happen in people right here in this room. Self-promotion can open the door to collaboration, which means that it has the potential to even reach more people, a greater audience, a greater audience. I think we might have one or two more questions. And a quote that I have, by shining the light on others, and this is something that God gave me, by shining the light on others, your light shines brighter.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
When you focus and shine the light on others, you illuminate. It's just a principle. It's God's principle.
It's a principle.
It's a principle. Yes. Is social media appropriate for persons to self-promote? We've already touched on that a little bit, but maybe we need to revisit and see what else what other thoughts you might have. We live in the age of social media. Facebook, Twitter, all of it. Is social media appropriate for Christians to self-promote?
Yes.
Ms. Tony?
I think it is, especially because, like you said, we are in the day and age of social media. But I think the number one thing is something you mentioned at the beginning, tagging that with God being the source of why you're capable of doing it. Because it's really easy, especially through a social media platform, to put all this information out there, self-promote, give yourself accolades, yada, yada, yada. And if you fail to mention the source that allowed you to be able to fund this, then everybody is looking at you saying, oh, she did that on her own, when reality is like, no, you definitely didn't. So I think it all boils down to, giving credit and honor where it's due, and knowing that you're not the source that allowed yourself to just be able to do these things.
Right. You're not the source, and letting them know who is the source. Where is it coming from? What is the bottom line? What is this all about? How did it originate?
Yeah.